Hey guys, so let me start out by asking, have you ever picked up a bar of soap or a chemical or something and be like, I have no clue, right, what I'm reading in here? Most of you guys don't spend time thinking about soap ingredients, researching chemical compounds, trying to figure out all that, right? So some of these words can be a little intimidating on those bars. So let's talk through this, right? Just like we're standing in my kitchen having a conversation, right? We don't want to scare anybody. We're not trying to have any hype or anything, right? But I hear all the time, I just want soap without chemicals in it. What you really want to say is, I want something that is safe to use on my skin, right? You have to remember, from a labeling standpoint, everything's a chemical. Water is a chemical, olive oil is a chemical, essential oils are chemicals. So the real question isn't whether something is natural or a chemical, right? Your real questions are like, how is it made? How is it going to change during the process? And what is that final product going to do to my skin? So let's start out with lye, because I hear all the time on Travis's videos in the comments, right? How's lye good for you? Yes, soap is made with lye. All real soap is made with lye. Lye is what allows the oil in the water to turn into soap through the process called saponification. During that process, the lye reacts with the oils, and once that reaction is complete, the lye is gone. It's not sitting in the bar. It's not active. If that lye was still in there, you would know it. It would burn you up. What you're left with is a natural product with natural occurring glycerin, which is actually very beneficial for your skin. If that lye was still there, as soon as you touched it with it, you would know. So lye isn't something to be scared of. Lye is not something that's dangerously hiding in your project. If you're using it, absolutely use caution and care. But in your product, it's not there anymore, right? So let's talk about scents. I only use essential oils in my soap. No synthetic fragrance oils, not because essential oils are harmless, right? Because they can be very potent, but because essential oils are transparent. I know what plant those oils come from. I know how they behave. I can choose how and when they are used. Fragrance oils, on the other hand, are lab-created blends, and they don't have to be fully disclosed on your ingredient labels. This is to protect them, right, for their trademark scents. So here's the part that most people don't realize. Both essential oils and fragrance oils can legally be listed as a fragrance on the label. This is allowed, but it doesn't give you much information as the consumer, right? So for some people, these synthetic fragrances aren't going to ever cause them a problem. But for others, especially people who are hormonally sensitive, pregnant, prone to migraines, have autoimmune issues, skin issues, fragrances can be a big trigger. That doesn't mean that they're bad, right, or dangerous, right? But it means we want more transparency. It means that scent should be handled with intention, right? This is why, to me, the process matters. So I use a hot process soap, right? And this is because by the time that soap comes out, all the lye's cooked out, saponification has occurred, and it gives me more control over my final product. I know exactly when essential oils are added. I know my soap is stable, and nothing's going to react later by accident. Soap doesn't need to be loud, smell really big, or be bubbly to be effective. A lightly scented soap usually means that there was restraint on the part of your soap maker, not that they had to use lack of quality. So what we mean, instead of natural, we mean we want simple formulas, transparent ingredients, and an intentional process behind it, right? We're not trying to scare anybody. We're not trying to fearmonger, but like, what is going on, right? This happens all the time. Labeling is the most frustrating part of my life, right? You don't understand how much time I spend at the store trying to figure out how the product changed, how it's going to be a reactant. And sometimes those small changes aren't going to be really bad, right? But sometimes those small changes could be huge. So like, in case in point, if I don't have time to make my laundry soap and I pick the one that I normally use off the shelf, I have a go-to that's very clean, very whatever for those tough, grungy types of situations. But I also have the one that I made from scratch, which is in my video collection. But even when I have to, right, if life's hectic or I'm going on vacation or everybody's been sick or what's going on, if I have to buy this stuff off the shelf, I still look at the back. I don't, like, I had a friend the other day go, like, half my body broke out with hives and I changed absolutely nothing. Well, you might have not changed anything, but that doesn't mean that the corporations didn't change something. And that I'm not sitting here saying, oh, big bad corporations. No. Like, they change formulas all the time. They find cheaper methods. They find more economical routes. And somehow in that, right, we can get caught up and we can have issues because of it. And it's not like they're out to hurt anybody, not necessarily, but small tweaks in formulas, right? So like maybe they changed out one chemical compound that used to be made from coconut over to something that was actually a derivative from almond nuts. Well, if you have an almond allergy and they've switched this out, you're going to have an issue now, right? That's why I don't use a lot of almond products I don't use any almond, right? Because almond, everybody has a reaction to it, it seems. I use apricot oils and stuff like that. But you have to get used to picking up your containers, reading the back of it, and just because grandma used it, your mama used it, your Aunt Sally uses it, whoever uses it, doesn't mean that this July they won't change the formula because they found a cheaper way to make it. Businesses are always about saving money. The more money we save, the more goes to to our profits. But I'm not going to label it as they're having this malice intent. It's just things change, right? So if you notice a change, if you notice all these things are going on, I find it really helpful to always save my old containers, right? I noticed actually when I did my last olive oil order, I've lost 2 ounces. The price was still the same, so I didn't notice. And if I didn't have the original container sitting on the shelf, I probably wouldn't have noticed at all. But I put them side by side and I was like, that one says 128, that one says 126. So each jug has now lost 2 fluid ounces of olive oil. Doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're big batch soak baking, it is a lot. Because over time, what is going to actually happen is I'm going to get less and less loaves out of the oils that I've been buying. So eventually, if this continues, I will probably have to buy 1 more container. So this is why you constantly have to look and make sure that you're not having to change your price points. Thank goodness I'm not there yet. But I hear people reaching out to me all the time. I get emails, Sarah, do you have anything for this? Like my eczema cream, it can be used for a multitude of different things, but any pretty much skin irritant. My daughter had contact dermatitis and got an infection on her face right here, and I put it on it, and it was great. But the problem is, if you're constantly having these reactions and you're constantly breaking out, you're constantly going through all those other things, great. Buy everything I've got on the shelf. I'm never going to stop you. But in the same essence, figure out what's triggering it. Figure out what's triggering all of a sudden. Now, if you've had it since you were an infant, well, maybe that's just a sensitivity. But if everything was fine and all of a sudden you're 45 and you're covered in hives, well, there might be an underlying issue, right? You might have been around too many, endocrine hormone blockers with the fragrances and stuff. You might have, messed up your mitochondria, like there's 100 things you could have done, right? That you have to get to the bottom of and figure out and reset your system. And a lot of the problem is a lot of people come into even naturopath and homeopath and they're like, I just want to fix what's going on, but you never treat the underlying issue. And if you don't treat the underlying issue, that maybe the detergent that you've used your entire life switched out one chemical compound and now you're having an allergic reaction to it, well, then you're going to keep breaking out and there's nothing we can do with it because you wear it all day in your clothes and you sleep in it all night in your bed. So you breathing in over the washing machine, like all of those things kind of play into it. So I'm a little bit of maybe too tedious when it comes to label reading, especially for my biblical reasons. I don't want to just any products in there. That's why I started making my dish soap, as they switched out some of the compounds in that, and I wasn't really happy about the products that they were putting into certain dish soaps, and I definitely didn't want unclean dish soap, if you catch my drift. But in that mindset, just check your labels, Do some research on your own. And for heaven to Betsy, if you all of a sudden start to have a reaction, don't be like, well, I'm in my 40s, so I guess I'm having an issue. No, there's a very good chance something might have changed and nobody told you. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you enjoyed my rant about labels as I continue to lose fluid ounces in my olive oil. And I hope you have a great day. Love you guys. See you next time.